Good morning, boys and girls. It is coming up to 4 AM and the heatsinks have arrived. Never gonna focus. Close enough. So the heatsinks have arrived, and the one thing I will say about these heatsinks is that when I first bought a set of heatsinks from China, these are Chinese bootlegs, they cost about the same as these did, which is about £1.20. But that mine were all like rough and badly milled and like made from really poor materials. These are copper and they're really nicely milled. They've got, you'll never see it, but they've got like nice round corners, and these are really well done, and they cost the same. So the Chinese are getting really good at knocking off the Raspberry Pi parts that you can buy in the UK and Europe. Like, they're getting really good at knocking these off. They come with like some self-adhesive like tape on it. I normally scrape that off and use my own, which I've done with those two. The CPU one was too tall. Like, this is about 2 or 3 mil too tall, and I could hacksaw it and file it down and whatnot, but I thought, why bother? Because the back of the Raspberry Pi here comes with a RAM one, which is nice and low profile. So I've just put the RAM heatsink on the CPU, and the RAM itself is going to be mounted sideways with all of these air holes next to it. I mean, it's going to be venting and it'll have loads of room to breathe. It's fine, it doesn't need one. The inside is what really needs it. So I put the RAM heatsink on the CPU, and then the little one down here is, you know, that fits perfectly. I had to chop away at the inside of the thing. Like, even this close to the end, I'm still cutting away bits from this case. In the usual case of 1 step forwards, 2 steps back, the heatsinks are now in. I've finally glued the LEDs in, and that was a nightmare as well. So what I had to do was get some of these, that's never going to focus, but I had to get some of these connectors that you have on the end of the wires, chop them in half, stack one on top of the other, glue it all together to make like a little post, and then glue the LEDs to the post. It's super intricate, and I'm way too tired to do it properly. So like these things were sticking to the tweezers rather than the thing, and I'm just, utter nightmare. Anyway, LEDs are in. That's all glued. The light pipes, I've now glued those in. I've also fixed, finally, like a final fixing for the power switch, and that's anchored in as well. So everything's done, and I've also shimmed down the display connector to get more room for the vent. All done, but I've broken 2 solder points, 2 solder connections, so I need to resolder the ground wire, and one of the 5-volt wires back here has come out as well. Other than that, it's done, and it's insulated, and it's up, and it works. So yeah, the next time you see it, it should have the stickers on, and it should be playing everything. Hopefully I can get the intro screen and all the code in, because the 64 gig chip is apparently on its way. So once that arrives, it will be done. Hopefully sooner rather than later. But yeah, that's it for now. Peace.